X4. First you need your plugs. Make sure you got the right ones. They screwed me over twice. And an oil filter. Does numble. And I got some AMS oil because that's what they had in stock. So let's get this done. Step 1. Take your little middle piece out with the cup holders. There's 2 clips here, 1 there, and 2 on the other side. Then you just pop it out of the way. And voila, you're to the engine. And mine's filthy. I probably should clean it sometime. Step 2, we are going to take the spark plugs out. You just pop it out of the way and then just get this out of here. And then you have all that room down in there. They're deep in there. So, since you can't use a regular wrench like everything else, you just pop your hood. And voila. Now you have your little wrench right in here. Got your wrench and your screwdriver, and you can pop it right out. And it takes a long time to unscrew these. Now that you got those out, you got your middle pieces, you make sure that your spark plugs are the same. And they are. I had a time trying to get one this long. Don't know why. Now you just reverse the process, put it in there and screw it back in. And it still takes forever to get it in there. It'll be here for a while. But I was wrong originally. It does not take a screwdriver like other types. It takes a wrench that's in the kit. It's 14mm. Now you tighten that and just snug it up a little bit. There's the one. Now that we got the spark plugs in, you gotta put these little black pieces back in, which is a pain. Put it in there. Turn it, make sure it's in there, and plug it back in. Spark plugs are done. So the next step is the oil. Me personally, I like to take the plugs out so the oil drains a little faster. So take one out, and then the other one is right here by the passenger. You can kind of see it. Don't got light at the moment, so. Now one thing you do want to make sure is that you grab this little O-ring right there. The O-ring falls off every time I do it. So make sure you get that. Lay it right there. Now you got a little airflow. So then you look down here, you got driver side. There it is. That canister and that little nipple right there. It's 10mm. And that is where the oil's at, in that little canister thingy. So now we gotta take it out and drain it. Now one thing I've learned from years of changing oil is that no matter how hard you try, it's gonna go everywhere. And she's a little long-winded. I like gloves because there we go. Finally got it out. It's probably best to make sure I don't have no dirt on it. And there's the oil coming out. Now that your oil is draining, here comes the next step. See, the oil filter is tucked up right there. You can kind of see it. And if you're little, you might be able to get your hand in there, or you can squeeze it in there. Or you can take the shield off. You got 2 bolts there, 2 underneath, and I think you got a pop rivet right there. That's a pop, yeah, that's pop rivet. And once you get them out, your hand will be free to get to it. That's the way I'm gonna go, because I'm a little more hefty, and hefty men just don't fit in tight spots very well. Now I figured I'll show you, because I forgot to show it to you. So you got 2 bolts, and there's 2 right in here. If you're anything like me, they were covered in mud, and you had a lot of mud to dig out, but we got it, so let's take these. Now with it slid out of the way, you can get right to the oil fiddle. You never realize how dirty they are until you pop them down. I bet the whole frame is full of mud. But anyways, not my problem today. Let's get this oil filter out. The next step is to make sure your oil filters are the same. Just because the numbers are the same don't mean they put it in the right box. I've had a lot of times where they sent me the wrong filter in the right box. But looking at these 2, they are the same. Got the same hole, same width. And this one comes with a little piece here, so you don't have to get an oil wrench in there. Next step, before you put your filter on, is just get a little bit of oil and go around your O-ring. Foreman taught me this because if you don't do it, it might come unsealed. It helps a lot, keeps it there, won't fall off as easy. So let's put this thing back on now. Now that you got that back on, you crawl underneath. It's better to go from the passenger side, but I'm on the driver's side. And right here, you can see 2 bolts, 2 bigger ones. You got to take both of them out to drain the rest of the oil. I think that's what's in the bottom of the motor.
He's not going to get it.
So we got them draining now. And if you've never changed oil, you can't change it without getting your hands filthy. I had to take my gloves off to get that thing to unscrew. And now I'm covered in oil. So let's let it drain and we'll put them back together. Now this is all personal preference, but I like to clean mine off with a little ether, little Napa starting fluid. So that way they are 100% clean. Don't want no dart in there. I get a little metal on the back of this, old rusty and dusty. But you want to make sure you clean them off. At least I do. Some people don't, I do. Also, while thinking about it, make sure your little crush washer is still there. They're fairly cheap if you need another one. And another thing I like to do myself is come over here and check the air box. Make sure there isn't no trash. It's a lot easier with 2 hands. Take that off, and kind of dirty. So I'll take it out, blow it off. Or in this case, might have to replace this one. I drive in a lot of tall grass, and she is dirty. So we'll clean that out after we get the oil done, and we'll be good to go. Gotta put these 2 plugs in, then time for some oil. Now that we got all the plugs in, it's time to put the oil in it. Now, if you drive old Hondas and stuff and anything, most time you put it in the top of the block. Well, you don't do it on this one. Why? Because you put it in your little round reservoir thing over here. You just put your little thing in there and fill it up to about 2.5. Let's say it's 4 quarts. You need 3.5. So put about 2.5. Then start it, let it run, and then check it again. And you'll have to just add it until it gets to the right level, because it ain't just, unlike a normal vehicle where it's in one place, it's going from here to the other place and back and forth. So you really got to do a little bit to get it in there. So we're gonna put some of this AMS oil in there and hope for the best. So I was able to put 3 quarts in it. Takes 3.5. So we're gonna put our plugs back everywhere. Don't want to leave them off while you start it. Make sure your O-ring is still there. And let me clean this thing. Sometimes you get a little dirt and stuff. Okay, good to go again. Got a little grime at the top, but I ain't worried about it. These doors shut every time you make sure your O-ring's in it. Put this back in there. So if you didn't know, in order to check the oil on these things, it has to be warm, which I find is odd. I know that I get how you're supposed to do it, but if it's low on oil and you start it up, you're gonna blow it up, which makes no sense to me, but I'm sure it has a system where it won't let it run if it's at oil. Well, we better put this here. Better put the air filter back in. Yeah. Ah. Finally. Didn't think I was gonna get that back in. I got this zip tie right here that every time I shut this thing, it gets in the way. So since we're taking it back off, we're only gonna clip 2. Ain't the end of the world. And she runs. Now we'll let the oil circulate, and we'll put the last half a quart. They say it takes 3.5 quarts, so I'm gonna put 3 in it, let it warm up, test it. It might need another half, it might not. Most likely it will because I drained all the oil out, but we'll see. So since I figure like I was taking things for granted, I've already got the oil in it. Let's check it and make sure she's right. In case somebody has never checked oil, you pull it out, look at your little dipstick, you can see the oil, and then you just go ahead and you wipe it off. Make sure it's nice and clean because you don't want to accidentally have it wrong. Now, you just take it and put it back in. Put it all the way in. And wait a second and pull it back out. And make sure it's right. You can look, kind of tell it's right in the middle. That's what you want it to be. You don't want to be oval and you definitely don't want to be below. That's how you check oil if you didn't know. Now the last step to me, after putting everything together and starting it, making sure oil's right, is to drive it around. I drive around, bounce it around, come back, make sure everything's tight, make sure I don't see no oil leaks, which you can look under there, there's no oil leaks. That's what the oil was. And just make sure everything's tight. You don't want anything bouncing off. And once you get that done, you're done with the oil change. I like to check the air pressure on my tires, make sure they're right. And that should be about it with it. You're done with it and you're good to go. And now we can ride for another 500 miles or whatever it is I want to go this time. Well, you guys have a good day. Well, we are back to the house. See the old 300 over there on the Outlaws. Got oil change, got everything back together. She ain't leaking no oil. You can look down there and see for yourself. There's no oil on the trailer in that long drive. And she's ready to go. That is how you change oil. I will put all the parts I used in the description to help anybody out. I didn't use Yamaha stuff, not because I didn't want to, but because Napa had everything I needed. And I could get it today, and I plan on riding this weekend, and I really needed the oil change. So if you have any questions, just ask me.